Training jujitsu is hard, and there are going to be times where your progress is really dragging. So that stuck feeling looks totally different depending on where you're at in your jujitsu journey. So a white belt being stuck might be completely different from a brown belt. So in today's video, we're going to discuss why your jujitsu may not be clicking just yet, and we will talk about both newer and more advanced students. So stick around. We're going to dive into it. If you like learning more about jiu-jitsu on a weekly basis, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also click the bell. That way you never miss the latest video whenever it comes out. So let's get started by talking about the newer students, as they are probably the majority of who is watching this video. But don't worry, upper belts. We will definitely get to you later on toward the end of this video. So let's say that you are a white or possibly a blue belt who just got promoted, and you've been trying to apply everything you have been learning, and that switch just hasn't flipped quite yet. So your problem often isn't a lack of effort or even knowledge. It's too much thinking. I 100% suffered from this back when I was a blue belt myself. I would often fall victim to what I would call the paralysis by analysis trap. And for those of you who don't know what this is, it's very similar to trying to order off a menu with thousands of items on it. You have too many options to pick from, so you either take forever to order or you just decide to go with your standard order, which never allows you to really branch out into anything more open. Now, in jiu-jitsu, this would look like trying to choose between a sweep or a submission from the guard position. So if you took too long to decide and process your options, that's going to give your opponent a pretty good chance to pass your guard. And you're going to miss maybe your best window to potentially go after them. So your thinking is too slow. Therefore, your reaction is too slow. This decision fatigue is extremely exhausting and will 100% affect your physical performance moving forward. Now, in my previous video, talking about how to start building your own jiu-jitsu game that you can check out right here after watching this video, I mentioned the idea of developing what I refer to as default responses to really help speed up your thinking and to boost your actual processing power. So instead of trying to constantly remember the purpose for each and every technique, these automatic defaults are more like you have thought it out ahead of time. Now think of this like you're going to a store, but you have to navigate an unfamiliar city. So you most likely have to look up the best route to take before you actually get in your car and you drive there ahead of time. Now, after you find the route that you like, it almost becomes autopilot that you take that same route every time. So you don't have to think about it as much. The same thing happens in jiu-jitsu. So you'll eventually develop these habits and these preferences. However, if you don't like them or you want to change them or you have the desire to speed them up, you have to actually start thinking about them, what you actually do during these common situations. So this will help ease your brain from that cognitive overload it experiences during the chaos of when you first start training. This will at least allow you to play catch up a little bit faster than you were doing before. The last key point that I'll hit on here for you lower belts is to try to avoid what we call the random training trap. Now, most of the time, I see this from students who are following the advice of just showing up. Now, guys, listen, doing that is the absolute bare minimum to improving. But if you want your jiu-jitsu to start clicking, I'm sorry, you're going to have to do better and you're going to have to do more. Now, when I say doing more, I'm not even talking about more classes necessarily. I'm talking about showing up and training with an ideal focus or a goal that you would like to achieve for each session. And a mentor of mine once told me that physical effort is cheap and overvalued. Mental effort is one of the highest forms of currency that you could give. Give more mental effort. Think about what you want to actually accomplish during your night of training. So random training produces random results. So therefore, the clicking that you desire will come randomly. You're hoping that that one random drill or that one random instructional will make a difference. But that's a lot of trial and error. And this is extremely exhausting and defeating. So if you are a newer student, the clicking isn't about trying harder physically. It's about simplifying your thinking and building these foundational automatic responses that will allow you to think faster and react in a more timely manner. Let me know down in the comments below, how much do you actually think about your own jiu-jitsu game? Quick plug for you: on Saturday, August 23rd, join me as I do a live breakdown of a student case study that was suffering from this training randomness and how they built their very own personalized game in just 90 days. So make sure you click the register link down below because spaces are limited. I hope I can see you there. Now, let's transition to you more experienced students. Maybe you are a purple belt or even a brown belt specifically. Maybe even a black belt or two are watching this. The problem you guys have is that you know a lot of stuff. You hit a lot of great submissions. Your speed of thinking is probably even good enough. So why the hell are you stagnating altogether? Well, it can usually be summarized by one word, and that is complacency. You are too comfortable with what you are doing. So you have found what you like and you don't want to change it. You have most likely been doing what has continuously got you to this point. However, because you are comfortable at doing this, it creates extremely predictable gaps in your game. You've likely been ignoring certain areas of your game, making you less balanced across all of these most important skill sets. So an opponent who negates that single predictable strength and takes advantage of your neglected weaknesses will absolutely destroy your day. So then what do? Well, you go out there, buy another instructional on your weaknesses, hoping it's going to solve that problem. But guess what? When you show up to train, you fall back into your old comfortable habits. There's no point in doing that if that's how you're going to approach it. So you're going to have to move outside of your comfort zone and start expanding your game. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how do I begin expanding my game if I'm an upper belt? Well, outside of just continuously hunting for your weaknesses and making sure those are taken care of, one of the most common things I see from upper belts is that they are missing what I would call B and C options. This works ideally if you already have an A game built. And when I refer to an A game, this is going back to what I discussed earlier in the video about having some sort of automatic defaults that you do in these core common situations that you experience in jiu-jitsu. So they're obviously your go-to preferences, your go-to defaults that you most commonly do, the ones that you feel the most comfortable doing, you have the most knowledge in, so on and so forth. So when we talk about expanding your game, we're talking about what are the next logical B and C options off of those. So what if someone begins to shut down your A game? Your A game sweep is no longer working, or your A game takedown is no longer working. Is there a next best transition or next best option that you can move toward? Maybe you have some specific guard pass that you like that's not working. So maybe you have to switch your options moving forward. Now, it's not that you're developing a whole separate game. I want you to think about it being a branched off. It should be a complement to your already developed A game. So it shouldn't necessarily be a totally different game altogether. The best thing is to start thinking about how to connect the B and C options. And this can really help you begin to make your jiu-jitsu start clicking even faster if you're an upper belt. Finally, the last key point for upper belts is simply not taking enough guidance or feedback from others. It's not that your coach is unwilling, but we as upper belts often feel like we must navigate really this journey alone. There's a misconception that once you become like a purple or a brown belt, you no longer need any sort of assistance or guidance. You might even feel like the onus is on you to know the answers given your rank. In my opinion, this often stems from the culture and the climate of jiu-jitsu. There are times that you might attend a seminar or train with someone, and as a brown belt, you might do something that makes you feel foolish for not knowing some magical detail. And I frequently experience this as a brown belt myself, the feeling that I shouldn't be asking my coach certain questions. It wasn't that I wasn't receiving coaching, it's just that I felt like I was more hesitant to ask. I didn't want to appear as if I lacked the answers. It was a way to mask my deficiencies in sort of a way. We must remain open to receiving feedback, even as upper belts and even as black belts. I seize now every opportunity to have my jujitsu critiqued or to receive feedback. If someone can show me how something new about even a basic or a fundamental move, I'm so eager to embrace these details. So, whether you're a new student battling from this paralysis by analysis or the random training trap, or even a more experienced grappler facing complacency, predictable gaps, or the no guidance trap, so you need a blueprint for your unique jiu-jitsu game, a framework that allows you for a newer student to simply react faster and a more experienced student to optimize their vast knowledge and build a truly unbreakable and interconnective system. This is exactly what my grips framework provides. It's the core of how we help you evaluate your current game and build your own personalized blueprint. If you want to see how this framework works in action and you want to see a real student facing these exact same problems who broke through their specific plateaus and finally had things starting to click, I'm hosting a free live case study where I'll break down exactly how the student went from totally feeling lost and overwhelmed to having clear and a strategic and a personalized jiu-jitsu game within as little as 90 days. So this transformation is possible for you as well. Make sure you click the link down in the discussion below to register so that way you don't miss your space. So if you got value from this video, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell icon turned on. That way you never miss the latest video. And make sure you check out some of these related videos that end up popping up right here on how to make your jiu-jitsu better. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.